He's gonna fucking kill me, but we gotta do it again. I don't care what he says. Cleveland.
Hello? Oh, God, I really
Yeah,
gotta
it's me.
start looking at...
No, look. I know you hated Halloween Ends.
No, I'm
I
not
know.
doing another
Look,
one.
I've got another one
What the hell's
for
wrong
you.
with you? You think after yesterday you can make me do another one of these reviews? After movies you picked for me? No, player, I don't think so. You done made me review all 3 Halloween movies by punk-ass David Gordon Green. The Invisible Man, remember that? Only good one I got to do was a bit...
Yeah,
Man, you
it's
kiss my
Hellraiser.
ass.
It's the reboot of... Hello? Cleveland? That son of a bitch hung up on me. Oh well, I guess I gotta do it myself. Hello folks, welcome back to the channel. I talked about doing a Hellraiser 2022 review, and here it is. We're just going to kind of shoot from the hip on this one. I watched it last night. We talked about it on the show, and while some people have expressed a lot more hatred for this movie, I didn't hate it. Wasn't particularly my favorite movie. Does it fit in with the Hellraiser mythos? I mean, if you go back to the original first couple, yeah, I think it plays right into that. Jamie Clayton did a decent job as your main Cenobite, and I really had no issue with her. That she was the priest, the Hell Priest. Now, I did a video months and months ago about this and how it goes back to the Hellbound Heart in the book, with the lead Cenobite being androgynous yet female. Jamie Clayton, we if you're not aware, Jamie Clayton is a transgender woman, and I say that because she's been transitioned for so long, and she's one of those people who doesn't cry out for attention because of who she is and what she went through. She was just an actress in this movie. There was literally nothing woke about this at all that I saw. I didn't think so at all. Like, was it an unnecessary movie? Yeah. Did it put a new spin on things? Kind of. The main character, Riley, was kind of annoying throughout the movie. And even my wife was like, she's odd looking. I'm like, I don't know if that's just the character or that's her face. No. She was, meh. You had Adam Faison as her brother Colin. He and his boyfriend, Matt. Colin was one of the first ones to get killed in the movie outside of the sex worker at the beginning at the hands of, I'm trying to think of the character's name, who was played by Goran Visinich. Yeah, so the movie centered around, his quest for to gain an audience with the Cenobites, and Riley kind of fell into a trap set by her boyfriend Trevor, who was working for Voight, and you have all the exploits in the house. Some very cool visuals in this. The Cenobites looked really good. Their designs were more individualistic. They weren't the leather-clad ones we saw in Clive Barker's first 2 movies. This was directed by David Bruckner, written with a screenplay by Ben Collins, Luke Piotrowski, screen story by David S. Goyer, Ben Collins, and Luke Piotrowski. And this was, of course, adapted based on the book The Hellbound Heart by Clive Barker. Overall, did I think it was a terrible movie? No. Like I said, I liked the special effects. I really liked how they individualized the Cenobites. You had the Chatterer, played by Jason Lyles. That one looked really good. That was the one that bit Trevor's arm, which we hadn't really seen before them do anything like that, which was kind of neat. You had the Gasp, the Asphyx, with Zachary King, and Selena Lowe as the Gasp. There was a lot of cool. You had the very first kill in the movie was Joey the sex worker, and you saw the chains come out and pull him in. Probably the best death sequence in the whole movie was Nora. The chains and hooks through her skin kind of bent her back, and Jamie Clayton made her like kind of contort back to her. She was standing behind her. It was just a very cool sequence, especially how it started because they were in the van, and you saw the van elongate and form the hallway. And, you know, down goes Nora down that hallway away from the front of the van and where everybody was sitting. So it really was cool. The sequence in the end of the movie they kind of had was, I would say, an homage to the very first one with Frank being reconstructed, which was done in, you know, the video was just played in reverse as it was melted down, and then, you know, you run it back and there's him getting reconstructed through the floorboards after he had the right amount of sacrifices. And you got that with this too, with Voight. In the end, as he had the instrument through his chest that would tweak his nerves, as placed there by the Cenobites, by the priest. So the sequence where that came out, where he thought he was ascending, was very cool because you saw skin and organs come back together and reform. And I really dug the effects there. I thought it was a great shot. Nice sequence, and there was, like I said, there was some positives to be derived from this movie in that respect. Is still overall, it really wasn't the best Hellraiser movie, I would say, out of like the first two, and then this one. I don't count the other. What is there? 3, I think. I don't really count those. Maybe more, but this one was good. Hulu did a good job. I'm not sure. I didn't look at what the budget was on it. But honestly, this is something that I don't... Will it be as memorable as the first Hellraiser? You know, only time will tell, but I don't see it replacing that in the mythos. Doug Bradley's performance in that was so commanding. And the Cenobites looking uniformed in the old one, and the lighting in which they were portrayed. This, the lighting was more... I would say... I don't want to say realistic, but I'm going to use realistic. Based on the environment. It wasn't the bright white light where they would show up in the first movie, and if I remember correctly, the second one. You know, they were always well lit. In this, you get to see some much darker sequences. And I know in the first movie, I say they were well lit. You know, there was obviously scenes where they were kind of moving in a darker environment. But it's just the way they were presented in this. The colors, their individualism popped more. Like I said, it was the leather clad in the first two, which, I mean, the BDSM influence is obviously there. And I'm not saying that went away, but the way they presented him in this one was much different. And I appreciated that. I like the individualistic look of the Cenobites and seeing their individual powers. For the most part, you know, you got to see each of them kind of do something, which was neat. And we didn't really get a lot of that in the first two movies. You know, the rest of them, like I said, I those notwithstanding, because I don't really remember much of any of them. Like I said, I could barely remember the second movie. So, no, this was a good movie. Is it something I'll watch again? Probably not. There was a part in the beginning where I fell asleep during the first act for about 5 minutes, but that's because the first act moves kind of slow. The second act really picks up, and the third act is, you know, nonstop until the end of the movie. So no, this was good. It was worth a single watch, and I had no issues with the movie whatsoever. On a 10 scale, what would I give this? That's a tough one, but I would say somewhere around. I'm gonna go around a 6. Nothing more, nothing less. It was a horror movie, some good gore effects. Like I said, special effects, CG were on point. The environment, the atmosphere was good. The acting was okay, not great. Like I said, it's a horror movie. It's October. I wanted to watch it. We got to talk about it on some streams. Now I got to talk about it on a one-on-one basis with you folks. Have you seen the new Hellraiser? If so, what did you think of it? Were you impressed with what they did with the Cenobites? Did you like the characters? I don't think anybody really stood out like they did in the first or second movie. So that's where I'm leaving it. Like I said, this is about a 6 out of 10. Nothing more, nothing less. You had the movie built around Riley, her battle with addiction, her desire to find her brother, and then when she realizes what the cost is, and you know, she has the lament configuration, which was her goal from the beginning, was to retrieve this with Trevor to get money because her brother threw her out, and then he got taken by, you know, he got killed in the beginning. It's like I said, she was not the best leading character, and I don't really want to like put that on the actress because I've never seen her in anything else. I really have no basis of comparison. I mean, did she jump off the screen at me and be like, man, I'd really like to see her in more work as a leading actress? Not particularly. There was really nobody in the cast that stood out, you know, like I said earlier. So the roommates, you know, they got little character development because Nora was fodder. You know, Trevor ended up being fodder. So the Matt, he survived. Not Matt. Matt survived, and Colin died. You know, we had the deaths along the way. Riley at one point did outsmart the Cenobites and stabbed one of them with the lament configuration, so they bled into it, which means they got claimed, and the Cenobite was just exploded after the chains. It was actually pretty cool. And Jamie Clayton was like, okay, you know, she's the priest. It was like kind of like a well-played thing. So the coolest thing was probably the set, which I know a lot of it was mostly CG. I don't know how much practical they used, but the house with the trap around it for the Cenobites, that was neat. That was one of the cooler things in the movie. So that being said, as I mentioned, 6 out of 10, nothing more, nothing less from me. That's about it, though. I really don't have anything else to say about it. I don't want to drag on too long with this because it wasn't a movie that I was particularly enthralled with, but it wasn't a movie that I really hated. Not something I'll watch again unless it's on and somebody's like, hey, you want to, you know, then I might think about it, but it's nothing I'm going to seek out and watch again. But if you're a fan of Hellraiser in any way, I'd say check it out. Let me know what you think. Segue into the ending. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Did you really like this? Did you really hate it? Or somewhere in between? Let me know in the comments. If today's the day I've earned it, please ding the bell, subscribe to the channel. Think about joining as a member, $2.99, $4.99. I'm working on some members. Harvey Wakuyan, producer tier, Halloween specific requests right now. One's a documentary on a unsolved serial killer case, which I will be spending about the next week working on. So a lot of stuff going on at the channel. A lot more horror, Halloween type content coming out. I'm Temple Queen of the Place to Be Reviews. I've been here with all of you. If I don't see you, have a great day, a pleasant tomorrow, and I'll catch you on the next one.
It's better to burn out than to fade away.
I could do this all